Hello, my fellow patriots. I know it took me a second to say hey. I had to read something on there. Good to see everybody, or maybe not see you, but see of you. I know I was scheduled for 10 o'clock, but she got in a little early today, so the good news just keeps coming and coming. So we'll take that. That means we can potentially get out of here early today and get her back to the house. Um, Trying to give it a minute so that everybody knows that I'm here. If you're over there on D Live, I feel like I've neglected you folks since I've been going through this process with Lisa, but just know that I'm grateful that you're there. And, if you've been dropping lemons on me and things like that, I can't see that from here. I only have the one screen, but I'm going to thank everybody for that. I appreciate you guys helping with the support and helping us along through this. Hello, Margot. Hello, C. Good to see you guys. Uh, I got some good news, and just like the title of the show says, uh, kind of weird to have cancer and good news all in the same sentence, but it is interesting. Hey, Zombie, how you doing? DM, good to see you. And again, I'm waving my hand if you're over there on D Live, or any folks that are over there. As soon as we can finish this thing up, which the last radiation that we go through for her is the 21st, and the last chemotherapy is the 24th. So the 27th is our 30th wedding anniversary. So she'll have the hardest part of this thing behind her at that time. Cindy, how you doing? So anyway, the good news is we got a report yesterday. The radiation specialist looked at her chart and looked at the imagery, and the mass is reducing in size. The edges are coming back, they're falling away, so it's the diameter of it is decreasing. That means a couple of things. It means one, the risk to her airway is way down. Miss PTP, how are you doing? Good to see you. There was a significant risk to her airway at the beginning of this thing because the cancer was in the trachea, and it was just below the 2 points. I say was, it is just below the 2 points where the airway opens up to the lungs. And on one side, she had to have that surgery when she went in for the biopsy to open the airway, and the other side was only just starting to protrude. It was coming in on the bottom. So the threat to the airway is drastically reduced now. The mass itself is deteriorating. So Chris Link, how you doing? So we are super glad for that. So everything that's happening, her body is responding to it well, and we're actually getting another little bonus out of this. Jadney, how you doing? And Gerald's Gaming, how are you? Good to see you. The other thing is, Lisa got a bad batch when she was born. Her dad, they're just finding out now that the children of Vietnam veterans that were exposed to Agent Orange have a lot of medical problems, and a lot of that was pretty evident even before we had to start dealing with cancer. But she's always had a skin problem. She's always had problems where she gets cysts and she gets boils under the skin, and usually under the arms and in the groin area, in places where the body sweats, she would end up getting these cysts and boils. Well, it turns out that for whatever reason, hey Freeman, the chemotherapy, I believe, is the thing that's doing it, but it's really healing her skin too. Thank you, Freeman. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, the prayers have definitely been a part of this. It's the biggest part, because if you guys remember at the very beginning when we first got the diagnosis. We were, the preliminary was stage 4, and without lifting a finger, without one single aspirin or anything, all of a sudden it was downgraded to stage 3. And the the prayers are the only thing that could be responsible for that. So I believe that that is a major contributing factor. The great douchebag, how you doing? Um, Good to see the name back. um, what was that? Freeman wife has that. She has boils under the skin. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I mean, it's so painful. And all you can do is just wait until they either come to a head or that they reabsorb. But anyway, so back to the prayers are what took us down the first notch, and they're continuing to help. And what we are doing is we are hitting this thing from every angle. We're using the prayers, and we've got prayer warriors all over the world. That's a huge amount of energy directed at one person. Hey, Pete, good to see you. Um, I can start now. Good, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and start then. But we've got our prayer warriors in every corner of the globe, and we're using holistic medicine and natural medicines, and then we're also using their chemical crap. So we're coming at it from a lot of different directions. And one of the most simple things that we're doing is we are she gets a teaspoon of baking soda in the morning mixed in a little bit of water. And the idea with that is the alkalinity of the body, the acidity, I guess you would call it, would be cancer doesn't like that. So baking soda kicks that pH level up, which makes it hard on the cancer. The American, how you doing? Jeff B. Hey, really good to see you. Um, yeah, we're doing a lot. CBD oil, uh, baking soda. Um, we got her on. Well, right now she's on a hiatus from vitamin E because it would directly fight against the radiation. So she was on a high dose of vitamin E, uh, turmeric, and curcumin are both being taken. And after the 21st, when she's done with radiation, she'll go back on the 1,000 milligrams a day of vitamin E. And we're also, I got a guy that might be a source for me to get vitamin B17, which is has a direct correlation with killing cancer cells. It doesn't hurt good cells, but it kills cancer cells. And the U.S. government made it illegal because of that. So just like they did with pot, as soon as they found out there was medicinal properties to pot, they made that illegal. Well, the same thing with B17. It's a vicious attack dog towards cancer cells, and you can't get it. So it's gonna end up having to be bootleg, but whatever. I mean, it comes from a nut from a tree. So this idea of making things illegal because there's potential health benefits it's starting to piss me off. I mean, it's really kind of pissed me off for a long time. So at some point we have to defy and say, you know what, you're not going to dictate how I live or die using your chemicals and preventing me from using the earth. That's just a bunch of crap. They make these laws for keeping people away from the benefits of Mother Nature. And there's a reason that God put everything on the planet that we needed to survive, because we don't need anything else. If we know how to use it, it's all there. The Indian medicine men were making pretty high-tech medications using grasses, weeds, herbs, and whatever they could find. And they did pretty well for a long time. And one thing that some people aren't aware of is the Indians lived very long lives. So the colonists that came over here were elderly at 30 years old, but some of the chiefs of these tribes would live well into their 80s. So they were doing something right. But anyway, so that is the news on the cancer front. She's in there today getting her chemo. She'll have 2 more after this. So we are on the downhill slide. But after this, after we're done with the vicious part, which is the radiation and the chemo, she goes on immunotherapy. And from what I understand, it's like it's a transdermal inducer or something like that. It goes in. It's a little thing like the cigarette patch, but this thing has a plastic cartridge on it. And every 2 weeks, we have to go in and have them fill that cartridge with whatever medicine it is for the next 2 weeks. Hey, drop it like it's Scott in the house. Okay. Anyway, Pete has the little button. I don't. Good to see you. Um, so everything's good at this point. As good as can be expected when you're talking cancer and good news in the same sentence. It's kind of weird. Everybody's like, what? But that's the good stuff. So, other than that, I don't think there's any news left in the entire world going on right now. Um, I don't think so. Um, Pete, you in here? I'm just curious. I'm gonna make sure that Pete's in here because I know I said we're not going to do this today, but I want to do a little experiment, and it may take me a minute, but can we even share the link in the chat anymore? Or did they stop that? I'm just wondering because I was going to see. I've been wanting to try this. I want to see if we can do guest spots and have somebody on the same phone and see what happens. Okay. I'm going to do that and close that. And then I don't know if I can comment on here or not. Nope, I can't. It looks like I can't make my own comment section. But anyway, so we're done with that for now. I'm gonna have to send it to him by email. Friends and fishing with Paul. Who is that? Somebody new? Ah, there he is. How you doing? Welcome. All right, so I don't know if you guys have heard this yet. This was hot off the wire, apparently. You got Fredo Como over there on CNN got busted on a hot mic and was coaching his guests on how to answer the questions. So, they're, what do they say? They're fair and balanced, but only if the scales are broken. But I found that interesting. Every time you turn around, CNN is being caught blatantly lying, and yet there are still people that watch that channel religiously and constantly tell us we are the idiots. So what can you do if people are so dumb that they can be hooked on all the falsehoods instantly thrown at them, and they can't open their mind into the realm of the possibility that what they're seeing might be bullshit? I don't know how to help them. I don't know what I can do for them. You have to hope they wake up on their own. Well, I appreciate that, friends fishing. I try to be. I get no benefit to trying to lie to people. There's nothing in that for me. We all need to make it through this thing, whatever the hell this thing is. We need to all get through it together and bring as many people along with us as we can. But like I say, some people, they can't flip the switch. They can't do that thing and wake up. I don't know what it's going to take with some people. It is so humid and hot here right now. I'm soaked. Oh, yeah, it's pretty warm here. Humidity actually up here in the Panhandle for the first time is kind of low as I'm sitting there wiping sweat off my brow. I'm not having to hold my breath and take a dive out the door of my car into the wet air, but it's definitely lower than it's been. Um, yeah, please follow me on D Live. And if you're over there on D Live again, thank you everybody. I can't see my D Live when I'm on the phone, and after I get through with the treatments for Lisa, and we get back on this thing where it's every 2 weeks, and uh, get all this stuff done, then I'm going to be back doing my regular hours and regular shows and that kind of thing. We might still mess around in the Jeep a little bit once in a while, but I need to get back to that. But I don't want any distractions while I'm taking care of Lisa. So I've just kind of I've put all the extra stuff down until we get through this, and then I'll get everything cranked back up again. United we stand, divided we fall. Yes, sir. 140 degrees, 142 degrees here. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Um, I would recommend putting some bacon and eggs on the hood of your car and go ahead and get a breakfast out of it since you're going to die anyway. 142 it'd be enough to cook your breakfast, give you a meal on the way out. Oh, oh, that's how hot your barrel is. Oh, yeah. Well, you got to keep that thing out of the sunlight. Every time Drop It Like It's Scott fires around downrange, another shopper looking for ammo goes, oh God, why? Oh, poor guys. I have if I had any of my weapons that I lost in a boat accident out in the Gulf, which was really, really sad, I would have had a stash for um, preparedness and then a stash for play. And if the play runs out, I stay out of the preparedness stash. Northern Tiger, how you doing? Gina Leonard, welcome. Long time no see. Good to see you. Donna Daly, hi. Yeah, it's going through a lot, but I'm definitely trying to do the once a week. Oh, by the way, it's Thursday. If anybody hadn't noticed, they they changed our schedules at the last minute. So instead of Tuesday for chemo, now it's Thursday for the last three. So this will be the new day for coming live, and I try to set it up with a time like I did 10 after 10 today because she was scheduled for 10 o'clock. So I figured, give me a chance to get to the car. Then we get in there and I go, oh, we're already ready for you. It's like, really? So they went ahead and scooped her up and swooped her to the back. Don't have to worry about that. She'll get out of there. And I guess we won't. She went in there about 9:25, I guess. So she'll be out of there by 11. We'll get downstairs and do her radiation, and should have her home and in bed taking a nap by 1 o'clock this afternoon. That shouldn't be too bad. Definitely something she does. Just today, when we get a double day, when we have the chemo in the morning and then the radiation in the afternoon, it knocks her ass through a loop. So we get her home as quick as we can, and then she gets jumped in the rack and crashes for a while. That way she can survive. But she's been strong through this whole thing. Except she cried like a big baby almost all the way home last night because of the good news. So that was kind of nice. Not that she cried, but just she was so happy to get some good news. Um, Christy Ledford, hey, how you doing? So anyway, The obviously the attacks continue on President Trump, and I find it amusing and interesting. Frankly, it's very amusing that the media is so freaked out over the people that look into Q. Uh, I'm simple. I look into everything. So yes, I have looked at Q, but I look at everything else too. I don't let anybody make my decisions. I don't follow something like a religious cult. I look at everything. But I really get a kick out of the fact that the media is so psychotic right now about how many people are following Q. And Mike Pence is going to be meeting with a group of people. I think today. I think it's today, but he's going to be meeting with a group of people that are self-proclaimed QAnon followers, and the ignorance of the media by itself. Lulu, how you doing? Um, the media refers to it as QAnon, but that's not what it is, and that's why the president won't answer the question because they're not asking it the right way. Q is the movement. The Anons, or anonymous members, are the digital soldiers, the digital warriors that look up the truth information. Q will drop a what they call a breadcrumb, and once that breadcrumb is dropped, then the Anons dive into the webs and they look for all the information they can find on that particular piece of bread. So the people are the Anons, the movement is Q, and anybody who's potentially interested in the other end of it, you look at the 8chan boards or QMAP, I think .pub, and mind keeping it down up there. Nobody told them they could have fly over my airspace, but anyway, you can look into the things, and you might be amused to find out that there's a Q plus also, and anybody who is familiar with Q knows also who Q plus is. But what is that? Who the hell is that? Pete the Patriot at yahoo.com. Oh, that. Oh, yeah. You know, okay. So, what else is going on in the news? Because I'm always in the nude for news. I mean, mood is what I meant. But just trying to think. It's hard when you have your focus elsewhere to keep up with all of the craziness that's going on around us. Um, I have been entertained by watching some of the activity with Antifa. They're finally getting run over once in a while by some of the cops that are tired of it, which is nice. Um, I think up there in Rochester, an entire division of their police department quit. And people either retired or resigned, or all of a sudden they just lost a whole bunch of people. And I'm not surprised because even with the patience of Job, the the police are human. They have limits, and they will snap. Um, I mean, just because you got a blue uniform on doesn't mean that you are less human or more human than any of us. And frankly, if somebody hits me in the head with a bottle of water that has been pulled from their freezer just so it can make a good thud, I'm going to beat them down. I am going to give them the experience of a lifetime. And I know that when these cops are hit with this stuff, they're feeling the same way. They're not acting on it, which is God bless them. They got stones, but that's also why I couldn't be a cop, because if somebody hauled off and hit me, then it'd be totally on then. And no holes barred, no rules. Um, um, it's saved on my drop down box. Well, good. You can keep it. I've seen videos where people are beating the heck out of the Antifa when they're attacking cops. I've seen that too. Yeah, I'll pray for you after I take you down. God bless him. May he heal quickly and with your strength. Amen. Yeah, but yeah, it's like Como, the moron again. One of his little quotes. Where does it say that protests have to be peaceful? Well, you know, that little thing gets in the way of all of their plans. You know, that Constitution thing. Heard of it once or twice. But the thing is, the more they bring the violence, the more people are realizing that there's not going to be an alternative, and that if they don't fight back, the violence increases because they get more emboldened. And the revolving door with the state's attorneys, where they're getting arrested for assaulting police officers and then getting back out on the street by the end of that night, so they're ready to go again the next day. The people of America are getting tired of that too. I saw on Twitter an older man knock the hell out of two beta boys and Antifa very fast. Yeah, I'll tell you a story. Has doesn't have to do with this subject, but the down in Costa Rica, I read about a man. He was a 74-year-old man that was he went through Delta training, was on the Delta Force, but then he crossed over and he went from the Army, I guess, to the Navy, and he wanted to be on a ship after he'd done all this stuff on the ground. So he also decided he wanted to become a SEAL. So he went ahead and went to SEER school, and so this guy was basically a Navy SEAL with Delta Force training as well. Well, down there in Costa Rica, he had moved down there because his retirement went further. So he's walking down the street one day, and these three thugs came up to him. And one of the guys had a gun, one of them had his knife pulled, and the other guy was just standing there, a spectator. So this 74-year-old man on a cane, hunched over a little bit, got the first guy, took the gun from him and shot him in the head with it, and then threw the gun down. The next guy that came at him with the knife started trying to cut him, so he worked him a little bit and ended up stabbing that knife right through the guy's chest without the other guy ever letting go of the knife. He used his own body and got himself. And he told the third guy, since he was just a spectator, he was just standing there freaking out. He says, you don't have a weapon, so I'm willing to beat you to death by hand, or you are welcome to leave. So the guy turned around and ran away. But I thought that was a perfect example of people taking the gray hair, the maybe a little hunched over appearance, and the frail looking old people. The young kids get awfully lippy about how they're going to beat that old person's ass, and they do that. They get a lot of older people, and they really mess with them because it's a good soft target. But when they meet the wrong one, they get really surprised when they get their asses handed to them. And I don't know how to break it to them, but these kids that think they're all this young and tough. Mama Rock, how you doing? They think they're tough guys, but they haven't ever been through anything. And some of us have been through hell. We have beat the dog shit out of the devil and then walked out like a boss. You have no idea what somebody has gone through in their lives, but you can assume without any basis that, oh, that's a weakling, that's a good soft target, we're going to go for that one. And you know I feel sorry for them when they meet the wrong guy. um, Michael Lowe, how you doing? Never underestimate the power of an older person's never. Yeah, right. That's the point. Because I'm not old by age, but I'm old by experience. I'm 49 years old. I'm almost at my what they call halfway point. So my shelf life is winding down from this point. But I'm I have my physical problems, but I have my muscle memory, I have my skill set, and I have the ability to turn it on and turn it off when needed. And that's pretty much what it takes. But it's like I say, young and tough never beats experience in life. That's right. The other thing is that they don't realize that when you get to this age, you don't want to stand there and go, okay, let's put up our dukes, let's do this, and let's box in the street. Nah, it's going to be quick, fast, very painful, and in a hurry. The it's it's going to bring a new concept to stop, drop, and roll, because you're gonna stop the aggression, you're gonna drop their ass, and they're gonna roll away in fear. So I don't know what to say about them other than best of luck. Uh, Mama Rock, I'm headed to 61 and won't lay down even now. Good. You should never lay down. I'm 68 and I believe you don't want to mess with me. And a lot of that, I'm going to tell you right now, is your mindset. Because if I was to try to do things like I used to do, I I was actually incredibly fit when I was young. Um, I I could run 6 minute miles all day long and never get winded. I ran full floor in the 40. All right, so I could run sprints. I could run cross country. I had I was doing weightlifting. I had a 4% body fat. I weighed 190 pounds, and I'd also taken three forms of martial arts. So when I was younger, I was the epitome of physically fit, and I can't do that stuff now. I used to be able to, just for fun, I would jump up in the air in my house when I was at home still, and I would jump up in the air and use my foot to scrape some of the popcorn texture off the ceiling. So at that time, I could jump and rub my toes across the ceiling 8 feet above me, or an 8 foot ceiling. So I had skills, I had the ability, but now I can't even bend at the waist because of the my back being fused. I can still rotate my hips, but there's no kicking up in the air and doing any of that stuff anymore. So I have to be willing to, if I'm getting accosted, I have to end it as quickly as possible because I can't put myself in a position where I have to box. Um, we don't tolerate games too well. I've noticed the older I've gotten, the less patience I have. That's true. I've had a very hard life and lived on a farm, and I wanted something I either had to make it or work damn hard for it. Yes, many of us were that way. We definitely didn't have stuff given to us. You can mess with me all you want, but the moment my family is messed with, I become a different person, aka Wolverine. And drop it like a Scott, you ain't bullshitting. I I will be willing. You can come up, and one of these idiots are welcome to get up and start yip 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 tapping in my face, whatever they want to do. Don't touch me. Don't do that. I'm not the one to be pawed at. So if they're yipping at me, I'm gonna stand there and probably laugh at them. But um, yeah, I agree with you. If family is involved, you know, I'm very sorry. The rules change, the mission changes, and the aggression is incomprehensible. So yeah, family is always protected. And I, I haven't had anybody yet that has tried to threaten me. I mean, I've had a couple of people get loud, but I didn't I didn't feel like they were anything more than um, you know dogs on a short leash. They try to run out of that leash and then they get jerked back by the collar. So that kind of thing. Truth seeker, how you doing? Good to see you. So anyway, what else we got going on? Because I know there's some stories in the news. I know we've talked a little bit about the president having the option of the 14th Amendment over there on Pete's show. Um, I think I triggered a soft spot for a conversation. Well, that's what it takes. Conversation is how we get things across. But no, I mean, a lot of us have the same thinking. You can pretty much do anything you want with the Patriots. But you know, if you're on the left, family is doesn't have any value. Um, the dads don't want to be in the home. The kids don't want anything to do with the parents. They think the parents are stupid. They want to, you know, go to their college, get all their free shit, break stuff on the street. So family doesn't have the value on the left that it does on the right. And to me, family is everything. Um, I was raised that way. My kids are raised that way, and you have to have your family because that is your primary go-to when things go badly. And if you have no family, you have nothing. So once you have taken the value of family out of the mentality of a child, I don't know if there's any hope for them. I don't know. I mean, you have to give a shit about something, and I don't think they do. I mean, they want their free college so they can go to their exotic underwater basket weaving and their multicultural transgenderism, 101. And then they want to get out and expect everybody to pay them for the rest of their lives because they got a degree that is worthless, even though they didn't have to pay for it. So I don't know what the hell they want. I don't think they know what they want. If you interview the liberals, if you try and interview a liberal, the the first thing you get is you're a racist. Okay, that was great. We've broken the ice. Now, do you want to answer another question? And then they start screaming at you, whatever. So it's hopeless. You cannot communicate with somebody who is incapable of, you know, conversation. They are incapable. It's you're a racist. I'm done talking to you. All right, but didn't get much talked about, but whatever. But I don't know how to break through to these kids, and that's why I fear that the more emboldened they get, the more aggressive they get, the more they think they can get away with everything, the less the American people are going to continue to just sit back and watch. So I feel sorry for the young and stupid because they assume that they're the almighty and that we will bow to their whim, their will, or whatever. And when they realize we won't, when they really get confronted, and not just by a few dozen Patriot prayer warriors or something like that, when they really get confronted, I think they're going to take a collective shit and realize that they probably made a bad choice. Trade schools should have never been closed throughout America. You're right, Margot. I went to a trade school. There's hope. My daughter was brainwashed. It took 3 years to wake her up. Now she believes me. Good. Um, yeah, it takes some effort. My I still have people in my family that don't want anything to do with me. I'm the conspiracy tin hat wearing psychopath that keeps telling them about things, but I kind of quit doing that. I just I told them if you need me, let me know, but otherwise have at it because I can't do anything for you. But it's sad, and, whatever. But what can you do? And anyway, the Zero Hedge had an article out about potential civil war, and the problem is that word is getting overused because that's the goal of the Democrats. That's their talking point. Um, the reality is there's no there's no opponent for for a civil war. If they're saying Antifa is going to be the man and they're going to be our enemy that we will be confronting, then you just want to go like that and flick them right on the end of the nose and say, "Shut up, kid, you bother me." That's not an issue. When the people get tired of Antifa, Antifa will be over as quickly as it became a stain on their mother's uh, underdressing. Anyway, that I don't want to get too graphic there, but anyway, they are not the issue. BLM is not the issue. They got financial backing, but they don't have a skill set. And from what I understand, some assholes in the military that are former military are trying to train some of the Antifa fighters and stuff like that. But you got to have heart as well. And Antifa does not have the heart. They don't give a shit. So they have nothing that they're particularly fighting for. They're just fighting against something. And they don't even know what that is half the time. Um, I had to tell the truth when questions were asked, never push it. Right. Yeah, you got to let them kind of come up on their own. So, anyway, Antifa is not a threat. BLM is not a threat. The issue is that the left wants us fighting each other because they are starting to get their wagons circled because they are facing a real threat of prosecution someday, we can hope. So they want the people fighting each other. The problem is they don't realize that the people are watching them. And when this goes down, or if this goes down, the the people are an afterthought. Like I said, we're going to flick Antifa on the end of the nose and send them to their room with no supper, and that'll be it. They're done. But it's the leaders that are crushing the American people under their tyranny. That's what we will be going after. The Second Amendment in this country was not for hunting and fishing. It was for shooting tyrants in the face. New text message from Mom. Okay, Mom. My car speaks to me. But anyway, so the words um, civil war is not the right word. It's called revolution. Um, it will all change when the bullets start flying for real. That's true. But hey, I bleed American. How you doing? Um, it's the revolution. It's getting rid of the tyrants. We shook them off one time, supposedly, and you know, there was supposed to be success there, but I believe that we were already experiencing the bankers financing both sides, and at that time it was just world leaders that were doing it. So I don't know. Shh, But I don't know. I don't know. We'd have to look into that one. But we have been under tyrannical rule for a very, very long time. When the country was founded and the all of the were Freemasons, that was already an organization with a questionable agenda. Even though George Washington didn't want to be a tyrant or a king, there was still a desire to mold a society in the euphoric, um, I guess, agenda, the plan of the Masons. Somehow, the Masons, the Freemasons, they believe that they are chosen to be the ones as our overlords and that they will guide the direction of humanity. And as soon as you start that as your basis for your secret society, then I already have a problem with that. Because if you feel like you should be the one controlling me, then you are wrong. I am I'm the greased pig at the fairgrounds. Nobody going to get a hold of me. Nobody's going to guide me. I'm going to go by God's rule. If uh, if I feel in my soul that what I'm doing or getting ready to do is inappropriate, then I will step back and regroup. But I just, there's a little guidebook to life. You don't have to believe it word for word. You don't even have to, you don't have to believe any of it. But the Bible is out there for a reason. It's for us to have some guidance. But again, the book is not designed to rule you. So anytime you might get a religious institution that says you will do this, you will do that, they're already wrong, because God put us on the earth and gave us the ability to think and to make our own decisions. And it's not even up to the Bible what you do in your life. It's up to you. But the smart person would pay attention to the rule book and at least use that to guide their path. Because, you know, you want to be doing things right. And I always try to do things right. But I also remember that sometimes I've done things that in the normal circumstances would be considered very sinful. But then I try to remember the other things that even Jesus Christ flipped tables and whipped people and kicked them and threw things at people when they did stupid shit. And I look at it like this: if Jesus Christ, the most pure soul to ever walk the planet, can get mad and slap somebody around a little bit, then I believe that it would be okay for what I have had to do in my past. So that's the way I look at that. There is a reason God gave us free will, exactly. But anyway, so the tyranny has been long and it's been constant. And when, I guess, when the fuse is no longer traveling and it finally reaches the powder, then the upper echelon, the superstructure, is going to be removed. And if they are tyrannical, they're going to get eliminated. But I don't know what to do other than that. Once they are done, there needs to be, speaking in the term of if something like this happens, there needs to be placeholders. There needs to be people willing to sit idly in that position with no purpose other than just holding the spot. And then real elections need to take place. Real ones. Not these games that are played, but one person, one vote. one citizen, one vote, one American sovereign, one vote. But, this is all hypothetical, just seeing if it is something that's going to happen. But anyway, it's not going to be a civil war. And that was a long way to get to that point. It's going to be another revolutionary war, but this time all of the tyranny ends. There won't be anything left for the tyrannical to control. Um, but he did it without sin. Did what? They slapping people around? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the pure soul. But also, it doesn't say in the Bible that your, your sins have to be repented every time you do one. It actually says that he died for all your sins. And it's not verbatim. That's just kind of roundabout. But he died for our sins. As long as you ask for the forgiveness, you don't have to ask for it every Sunday. You have to ask for it and you have to mean it. And then you are forgiven. But anyway, I definitely don't discuss religion much because too many different opinions, too many different ways of thinking of things, and I don't look to create conflict. I just look to try to educate on the way I see things, because I don't think I'm alone in the way I see things. I think I'm probably, my opinions are shared by many people. I talk about them more. Well, that's a pretty truck. Not as pretty as my truck, but pretty. But anyway, I got a set of running boards for this thing. I got a bumper that's coming. Getting those rhino line and then put on. Yeah, split the tables out of sadness that they were using the house of God as a store. Right. Yeah, I mean, but he's still slapping around a little bit. Gone forever in the sea of forgiveness. Forgetfulness. No, I don't remember that. Get it? I don't remember. You might kill me. Yeah. Ooh, I got to get gas. And so anyway, what else you guys want to talk about? Yeah, I'll be here all day. Make sure you tip your waitress. My stand up is done in the seated position. But anyway, so what else you guys got on your mind? I got another 35 minutes before I have to go grab her and take her downstairs for the second meeting. Well, Big Georgia, how you doing? Anyway, I know that this has been a scattered conversation, but it's been interesting anyway. I got to get some more news headlines for next week, so I have something more that I can discuss. But I've been busy. So somebody drop a topic up there. Let's roll this thing. See what else we got. I got some more time. I'm just sitting here shooting the shit with you. It's one of those conversations where I can say anything I want and you can't talk back. Oh, I wish I had this tool when my kids were teenagers. I just make sure that I'm discussing their things with them on a live stream. That way I can say whatever I want. They can't talk back. It's genius. The wildfires, yes, sir. All right. You know what I'm guessing is that California is out of money, because every time California gets out of money, the strange and unusual fires happen. And once those fires happen, they can file for federal assistance. The bigger the fires, the more damage, the more federal assistance. The trick is, where does the federal assistance go? It goes to China, it goes to illegals, and it goes to everybody else except for the people that lost everything in California. Um, Virginia Leonard, they arrested an Antifa jackal for arts. I'm not sure what that is. California, exactly. So yeah, and interestingly, uh, I don't know who has the control of the new weapons, but apparently it's not the White Hats yet. Um, on a satellite imagery that was shot over California, I just saw it on my way out the door this morning, in fact, so I haven't looked into it completely yet. And I can't remember the site that I saw it on, but in this moving image, it was like a weather satellite or whatever. It caught a clear beam being shot directly at the ground in California, and this thing had some diameter on it, so it was not a low energy anything. And so somebody still has control of the new weapons, and we need to find out who the hell that is and get done with them. I lost my job on August 7th, and when I went to apply for unemployment, someone had opened and claim in my name and used my social security number. I have not received any money. Got that's that's a lot of that happens. I did get some more from my vacation time, and I'm using that for my rent. It really is frustrating how easily people can swipe an identity, and that's the problem we have with our digital age. Um, you can lose everything in a minute just with a few keystrokes, and I don't I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if they want to fix it because it's the criminals are well backed by some of the Democrat leaders. As long as they kick some money back at the Democrat leaders, they can do whatever they want. So yeah, something's got to be done about that. It's too easy to take somebody's life on a computer. Um, yeah. Um, Another thing, keep your eye out on the camel toe and Hyde Biden campaign ads, because they're going to start this push that they're going to say, yeah, we are Second Amendment supporters. Absolutely. We are not going to restrict you from hunting and fishing. The underlying unspoken statement there is, we are going to take everything away from you except for the single shot, bolt action 30-06, and we may only let you have 1 or 2 rounds when you take that out with you. So they're gonna try to infringe on the Second Amendment as much as they can, and they're gonna make it sound like they're Second Amendment supporters. But the caveat is always the but. Democrats always have a big but, and this one is going to be, we are Second Amendment supporters, but we don't think you need anything like that. So yeah, I have my state senator's director of communications working on it for me. I'm not the only one this has happened to. I've never been employed until now. Well, that sucks. I hope things improve for you. But I would be very curious to know if the person that's using your identity is a American, or if they're a illegal. I'm just very curious, because a lot of the people that have been coming into the country illegally will be given an identity to work under so that they can be Americans, and they steal that identity, and then they get whatever they want. Um, I think they would use an insurrection act to try and take take them right off the bat. I think they would too, and I think that would be a huge mistake. They're very much underestimating the people of this country. Hillary and Heels Up Harris have an event on Monday. Rumors are coming out that Biden will turn over his spot to Hillary. Yeah, I've been getting that too. Um, oh, I'm sorry, 12B. Did I offend you? Oh, God, I hope so. Oh, make my whole day if I did. Yeah, well, he can do that. Yeah. So, yeah, we can just keep us posted in the chat as you get things figured out, because I'm sure a lot of us are curious if that is an illegal that got your ID or if it was an American that stole it. All right, so what time we got? 10:26. So she's been in there an hour. She got probably got another 20 minutes or so. Can he just turn it to her like that? Yeah, they actually can. Um, they the Democrats are absolutely lawless, and the way that they do things is they get their little clans together. Notice I said clans, Democrat, get it? The whole clan. Anyway, so they get their clans together and they make these rules. And hey, Propus, the rules pertain to, you know, preventative measures pertain to us, allowances pertain to them. They can do whatever they want. We can't. So anytime they want to do something, they just change their rules. They can change the rules at the DNC. They do things without the vote because they run their DNC like a democracy. They don't run it like a republic. Um, I did change all my information with unemployment, changed my password. I also changed from debt card to direct deposit and to have taxes taken out. That'll help. Um, okay. The fraud person never got any money. They sent the debt card to me. Well, that is cool. Thank goodness for that. I hear those horror stories sometimes about somebody who's in their 80s that might have, $30,000 left in their nest egg, which, probably wouldn't get them that much further anyway. But all of a sudden they get up and all of their money's gone. When you're at that age, what the hell do you do at that point? I mean, the cruelty of humanity that they can do something like that to somebody without any remorse, without any regret. They just do it. No, they don't need that money. This money be mine. Just made more coffee. Right on. I need to go get some more coffee. I have to prove who I was and send copies of my driver's license and social security card. Yeah. You'll be 60 in February. Well, happy birthday. I'm going to be 50 in February. I think something will happen before first debate, so he won't be debating. I believe that too. They got to act pretty quick because his gaffes are getting really bad. I mean, about the only thing he hasn't done as a racist piece of shit, sexist, pedophile pig that he is. Wow, that felt good. The only thing he hasn't done is use the N-word. I mean, he has come straight out and called black people ignorant as pig shit. And what the F, you know? The man is absolutely racist. And I'm so disappointed that so many young black people just can't fucking say it. It's like if you took reality and just put it in a ping pong paddle and slapped the shit out of them, they still wouldn't see it. I just don't know what to think. I'll talk some about the 14th Amendment. All right. Well, basically, the gist of that is that the election has to be decided. The The call is made on the 3rd of November per requirement by, by election law. But the official determination has to be completely submitted and done by the 9th of November. And if a state, use California for example, if they say, oh, well, we're still counting our presidential ballots and, it's the 10th of the month, then the president can tell them, okay, then you have forfeited, basically. You are exempt from the vote. They lose their electoral college votes, and obviously their popular vote is not counted in the total. So the Democrats think that they can drag this thing out for months, but they can't, because the 14th Amendment is very clear. And if they lose their input, I mean, you potentially, we got New York that, they're lost, California's lost. And it's not the people that are lost, it's the corruption that controls the vote. So the states that would do this would potentially lose their electoral college, and they wouldn't have a say in the presidential election. The only thing nice about what the Dems are doing, they are destroying themselves within, and I think it is so funny they don't even realize it. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, so he can exempt them, but what it does is it disenfranchises the entire state of voters, and that would piss an awful lot of people off. I don't think it would piss them off towards Trump. I think it would piss them off towards their state officials because of the games that are played, because it would be made very clear that the reason that they have to be exempt from the vote is because they refuse to do the election the legal mandated way. Yeah, black coffee is the only way to go. Yeah, no milk. You don't want to break it. So anyway, that's the gist of the election law under the 14th Amendment. So I think that is their plan, and I honestly believe that the landslide that we're potentially looking at may have only happened one other time in the history of this country, and I could see him absolutely destroying everybody in the popular vote. I think that he could have a 50-state flush, and obviously that night on the 3rd he'll have the vote, and by the 9th the Democrats will hopefully have all their numbers counted up and double counted and recounted so that they can get the numbers they need. But if it's going to be the landslide that I think it's going to be, I think we're talking millions and millions of votes that they're going to have to find after dissecting alligators and the empty truck in the hayfield and all the other places that they get their ballots from. I just don't see that they're going to have enough. I think that this is going to be a biblical election. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just have that feeling. Because I don't believe that even with the media, with the social media, with all the tech giants, with all the Democrat talking heads getting all the airtime that they want, I don't think it's enough. I don't think their numbers are big enough. Anyway, so yeah, if you're watching me over there on Facebook, I just got a notification. I appreciate that. I definitely don't have that screen on this phone. I kind of forget about it once in a while. But what about the 3rd party? Until we get rid of the illegal democracy within our republic, a 3rd party stands no chance. It's very sad because there's been some really killer 3rd options, but the problem is the democracy that is within our republic, within the state, within the Senate rather, and within the House. Both of those run an illegal democracy within our republic. What they do is they get one extra person on their team, and then they make all the decisions, majority rule. That's not how this republic's supposed to work. But when a third party comes up and they say, okay, well, we want to run for president, that's when that democracy binds together. The Democrats and the Republicans merge together to fight off that third party. So there is the illegal democracy. But the reality is, I've said this in another video before, the when the first party ever popped up, it was called the Democratic Republican Party. And it didn't split until the terms weren't agreed to on slavery and states' rights and things like that. And that's when the Democrats broke away, and that's when they created the KKK and all these other things to try to continue to control the black people. So, yeah, the third party doesn't stand a chance right now. When we can fall back under constitutional law and get rid of this maritime law, get rid of this this corporation status that we are in, where they can have their corporate rules, and those are exempt from law requirements because they're rules for their corporation. Until we can get rid of all that, we're not going to have another party. But we can hope. Let's get back to the Constitution. Let's get things back right in this country. We got a long ways to go, and then maybe it'll be a electorate of the citizenry like it's supposed to be. It's never ever supposed to have been lawyers, lawmakers, political science, all this crap they take in college. That wasn't how our government was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Bob's Bakery down the street. Old Bob, he's our senator over here. Joanne's and Fabrics or whatever. The manager over there is our House representative. So, it was supposed to be of the people, not of the lawyers and of the corporate masses. So we got a long ways to go. But anyway, so I'm at 10:37. I need to get moving because she'll be coming out of there soon, and I don't like her coming out without me sitting there because, it's just something about the support that's been helping her get through this, I'm sure. I heard the digital don't matter, the analog is the crux. Yeah, analog is a lot harder to tamper with. It's just going to be a long, hard road back, but it will happen. I believe so. I believe it will. Yeah, the lawyers need to go back to the corporation only. Yeah, the reality is the lawyer is the only department within our government that lawyers are supposed to be able to be used to represent is in the Justice Department. So there was a change done, another change to the Constitution, and I'll get into that later, but it basically was originally it stated very clearly that lawyers shall not hold positions as lawmakers because the laws were supposed to be written on a single page, and it was supposed to be in a dialect and legible by the least educated person of the town. So there was never supposed to be 3,500 pages of law. That's all garbage. But anyway, we will start messing around more with the Constitution, the real Constitution, the real laws of the country. But let me get Lisa on this recovery road. A couple more weeks of this, and we're going to start putting ourselves a routine back together. I'll get some shows going. We'll get some Constitution stuff going on, and we'll get back to some normalcy. But anyway, so that is where I'm going to leave it. And if you're join me over there on DLive, God bless you. I appreciate you being there. I wish I could interact with you more, but I can't do it on my phone. Right now, the lemons are building up in my chest, so we'll celebrate that on the. We'll do that on the last week of Lisa's chemotherapy. And we'll have a special show, and I'll break that chest, and I'll give you guys some good quality time over there on DLive. Appreciate you guys if you're checking me out on Facebook. And hey, there she is. Talking about coffee. And back, I'm just sitting here, and now I think a cup of coffee sounds good. Um, with a little cream and sugar. Yeah, you break yours. Love you, sweetie. Um, anyway, so I'm going to come upstairs. I'll be out there when you get done. For the rest of y'all, thank you so much for joining me. Uh, God bless you guys for the prayers, the strength, the power to get through all of this. You guys have really rocked Lisa's world with all the support, all the cards, all the gestures, and the kind words and prayers. Everything. It's awesome. You guys just rock. Love my Patriots. Um, love back at you. All right, you guys. Make sure you stay in the fight.